Hi Room 22, I'm back again with the world's worst teacher. Now, we had got up to Mr. Pent and his story about how he had been clonked on the head with a great big steel demolition ball and how that had started his fear of balls. So then he became a really boring teacher because he didn't want any balls on the school grounds whatsoever. Which doesn't sound like a very fun school to be at, does it? Alright, so let's keep going. Mr. Pent would confiscate all balls on the spot. Then he would lock them up in a special ball cupboard at the end of a long corridor next to his classroom. The sign read, "Ball cupboard, beware, contains balls." Isn't that funny? Why would you have to beware of balls? Over the years, Mr. Pent stuffed hundreds and hundreds of balls of all sizes in there, and there was hardly any room for more. If any pupil dared to ask him, "Please can I have my ball back, sir?" the teacher would smirk to himself before replying, "Of course, child." "Thank you, sir." "Just one moment, if you please." Then he would reach into the cupboard for the ball and pop it with a pair of compasses he had concealed in his hand. Poof! The air would spurt out like a lazy bottom burp. "There you are," Mr. Pent would say as he handed the deflated ball back to the child with a grin. After he had finally confiscated every single last ball from every child in the school, Mr. Pent went further. Now anything spherical was on his hit list. The teacher stalked up and down the school, confiscating everything that was round. Marbles, "Balls, these are mine." A space hopper from under a pupil, "Boing, balls, that is confiscated." A gobstopper from the mouth of a gardener, "So that's a lolly." "Balls, spit that out." The glow from the geography classroom, "Balls are forbidden on school premises." A suspicious-looking pea from the dining hall, "Balls, that pea could have an eye out." A string of pearls from round the neck of the headmistresses, Mrs. Stade, "Balls, headmistress, balls, you of all people should know better, balls." It was a confiscation cavalcade. Pent was on a roll, which was odd for someone who hated anything that rolled. Things came to a head the day a boy named Roland, who happened to have a rather round head, faced the full force of Pent's fury. "Balls, the globular shape of your head is a contravention of school rules." "But sir," protested Roland, "it's not my fault that my head is round. It was born that way." "No buts, boy. You and your head are confiscated." With that, Pent picked up the boy, tucked him under his arm, and marched off down the school corridor before stuffing him in the cupboard. Squish, squish, squish. Bolt. Knock, knock, knock. "Let me out," cried the boy. "Please, I have exams." "Not until your head changes to a square shape. No balls." Needless to say, this was the tipping point for the pupils at St. Aub's. With their friend Roland still stuck in the cupboard, they were now furious with Mr. Pent. It was impossible to live under this tyranny a day longer. The most rebellious of all the pupils was a girl named, as luck would have it, Rebel, who lived up to her name with her individual take on school uniform. Can you see the picture? With all the labels to describe what she looks like. It says she wears a skinny tie, she has hair scrunchies, she has a short blazer, graffiti on her school bag, colourful socks, chunky shoes, a puffy skirt, and a pop group badge. Rebel, who lived up to her name with her individual take on school uniform, decided to hold a secret meeting for all the kids at the school. No teachers allowed. During a lesson, Rebel whispered in her friend's ear, "Everyone, meet after school in the park. Pass it on." This was passed on from one child to another. Soon the message became mangled. Park meet at the school after everyone. Meet after the park, everyone in school. Meet as in not M-E-E-T, M-E-A-T, meat that you eat. School, everyone in the meat park after. However, as soon as the bell rang for the end of school, ding, a rushing river of children ran to the park. Oh, I love that. That makes me think of how many children were rushing to get to this meeting. A rushing river. Rebel climbed to the top of the climbing frame to address her fellow pupils. The girl was a natural rebel rouser and spoke with an urgent energy that inspired all who heard her. "Have you had enough of Mr. Pent confiscating all our balls?" she cried. "Yes," cheered the crowd. "Do you want to rescue Roland from the ball cupboard?" "Yes." Do we all need to get our own back on Mr. Pent?" "Yes." "Are you with me?" "Yes." Rebel expounded her plan. It was quite brilliant, but would only work if every single kid on St. Aub's played their part, and they would need to play it to perfection. That afternoon, all the kids left the park excited about what tomorrow would bring. The bell rang for lunch break the next day. Ring! As the kids streamed out of the school building into the playground, Mr. Pent was on the prowl, as always. "Balls, balls, balls," he muttered to himself, his eyes dashing around on the spot. On Rebel's signal, it was time for the pupils to begin phase 1 of their plan. A group of kids began playing football. Another group started playing cricket. Still more played hockey, tennis, bowls, ping pong, or even snooker. Any game you can think of that involves a ball, they played it. As noisily and boisterously as they could. "Goal! Game, set and match! Pass the ball!" Except there were no balls. Not one. The hundreds of kids were all taking part in a ginormous trick. Every single one of them was miming. Of course, Mr. Pent knew absolutely nothing of this scheme. How could he? Their teacher could see all the kids running after a ball, kicking a ball, bowling a ball, hitting a ball, potting a ball. The thing was, he couldn't see a single ball. Mr. Pent exploded like an angry volcano. Oh, that's a simile. He exploded like an angry volcano. I wonder what that means. I wonder if that tells us how angry he was, how ballistic he was about to go at the children for playing all these ball games. But how could he get angry if there were no balls? His face went fiery red. Steam came out of his ears. His eyes boiled in his head. "Balls!" he kept shouting over and over again before he managed to bellow. "What is the meaning of this?" "What is the meaning of what, sir?" asked Rebel, innocently, as she slided up to him. The entire school was playing with. He could barely bring himself to say the B word. "Balls!" "I know, Mr. Pent, sir. It is absolutely terrible that everyone will disregard your rules." Right, I'm going to stop there. It's getting quite interesting. I wonder what Mr. Pent is going to do next. How will he react? How can he react if they don't have any balls? They're playing ball games, but there's no balls that they're playing with. So I wonder what's going to happen next. What do you think is going to happen next? Alright, see you soon.